This is a cannon. Any class is able to use them, but they're only found in specific areas of certain maps. The only maps that have usable cannons are Vus Fortress, Cobb, Leipzig, La Femme, Catacomb de Paris, San Sebastian, Berina, and Copenhagen. Cannons can be loaded with 3 different types of rounds, those being round shots, canister shots, and grape shots. Normally, round shots and canister shots are usually placed alongside each other. Round shots have infinite penetration, but only provide a single projectile. Canister shots fire off 36 projectiles, but can only hit up to 2 zombies each. Because of how far out zombies can spread out, round shots rarely make themselves useful. Even with the low penetration, canister shots still provide more of a chance to wipe out bigger groups of zombies. Grape shots are exclusive to La Femme. It produces 12 pellets that can hit up to 10 zombies each and cluster nearer the center of your crosshair when you fire. You can find these on the first floor beneath the cannon in the apartments. These are good for shooting bombers still spawning out of the ground, as sometimes other zombies will absorb the shot instead. But in order to use the cannons in the first place, you'll need a swab. The swab's sole purpose is to clean the cannon and push rounds into it. Cannons operate in 5 stages: cleaned, loaded, ready, firing, and fired. When a cannon is cleaned, you're able to load one of 3 round types into it. Once it is loaded, use the swab on the cannon to push the round further in. Once it's at the ready state, you can interact with the back part of the cannon to aim and fire it. If you're on PC, use W, A, S, or D to aim the cannon, then press F to fire. If you're on mobile, use the bottom left of your screen to aim the cannon, then press the red box on the bottom right to fire. If you're on console, use the moving joystick to aim the cannon, and then press the square button if you're using a PlayStation controller, or X if you're using an Xbox controller to fire. It's recommended that you're in first person to aim the cannon properly, as trying to aim in third person may cause you to undershoot or overshoot your target. This will put the cannon in the firing state. After roughly 4.5 seconds, the cannon will be in the fired state. Use a swab to clean the cannon in order to return it to the clean state. You do not need another person to load the cannon for you, as the cooldown before cleaning the cannon gives you enough time to walk away and grab another round. Before you interact with the cannon though, ensure that you're not in any immediate threat of zombies because you are not able to cancel the cleaning or the reload animations. If a zombie is approaching you as you interact with the cannon, hope that an ally protects you. Some cannons are intended to be used to complete objectives, while other cannons exist to help your team with clearing out groups of zombies in holdout positions. In Vus Fortress, the cannons are located in 2 different parts of the map. One being an objective-based cannon at the start where you have to fire it in order to obtain the shovels, the other 2 at the finale awaiting the rescuing ship. When finding the round shot and swab used for the first cannon of Vus, they will spawn in different parts of the area. For the swab, it could appear in the small shacks, the second floor of the cabin, or in the bunk bedroom near the jail cell. As for the round shots, they could appear in the small shacks, the empty shed outside of the cabin, or at the top of the lookout tower. Firing the cannon in the basement will cause the Horde event to start, so grab the shovels immediately and start digging out the snow. As for the cannons used in the finale, primarily focus on wiping out bombers as well as large clusters of shamblers and zappers. Wait for your targets to jump down from the rocks, as the cannons are unable to aim really high up to where the spawns are. Practice good trigger discipline and avoid shooting bombers if they're extremely near your allies on the dock. If you have a second person with you at the cannons, avoid firing off both cannons simultaneously, and instead, take turns as to when to fire so that your allies on the dock have the help of consistent suppressive fire. Make a plan prior to starting the finale as to how to get to the ship once it arrives. Either have a chaplain assist you, or trust your teammates to wipe out most of the zombies to make it safer to board. If all else fails, fight through the zombies. In Cobb, there are 2 cannons that you can use, one within the manor and one to access the bridge. The cannon within the manor is solely meant to break open the door that will lead back into the street. Firing this cannon will start the Horde event. Make sure your allies are ready to hold off the Horde, since the tight alleyways can make it difficult to dodge zombie attacks. You can also circumvent most of the Horde by walking back through the cellar instead. As for the cannon used to access the bridge, you'll need to aim the cannon all the way up to properly aim it at the barricade, and use 6 round shots to break it down. This area is the toughest part of the map, as the spot you're in doesn't give you a lot of breathing room to move around zombies should they close in on you. If you are not operating the cannon, make sure you protect the people using it at all costs. Defend all 3 entrances and play safely. In Leipzig, there are 2 cannons at the other end of the street where the runner horde spawns, and 2 located on the second floor of the building in the graveyard. These cannons don't provide much utility, as the runner horde can easily be dealt with using a single grenade or tar bottle, 2 stakes, a crucifix, or a bunch of people swinging their weapons at once. The cannons at the finale are placed extremely high up and don't cover any important angles to be rendered effective. At the finale, just huddle by the exit gate. In Catacomb de Paris, there are 2 cannons at the finale. These cannons are extremely helpful to your team's survival, as they can wipe out large groups of zombies and not just bombers and igniters. As mentioned before, just use the canister shots here. The path the zombies come from is a downward slope and not a flat street, meaning that the round shots are rendered useless. Just like in Vus, if you have a second person manning the other cannon, fire the cannons one at a time. In Sebastian, one cannon is placed directly outside of the first respawn checkpoint. This cannon can be used to deal with the incoming runner horde, or be used to fight off any stragglers walking down the winding path. Since there are no swabs or cannon rounds nearby to reload, it's basically a subtle message that the area the cannon is in is not intended to be used as a holdout. You just use the cannon once, and then you move on to the lift. There are 3 more cannons at the finale. 2 beneath Berry, and another by itself overlooking the exploded gate. The 2 cannons within the fort provide good firepower against the onslaught of zombies, but because of how fast zombies can get to you from the staircase, you'll need to rely on your teammates to defend you as you're readying the cannon. Using the round shot will sometimes prove useful at this point, but you'll need to hope that the zombies you want to hit perfectly align the very moment you want to fire. The 3rd cannon overlooking the exploded gate is too dangerous to be used, as zombies are able to climb up from beneath you while you're using the cannon. This cannon also doesn't cover too many spawn points and can only hit the zombies spawning above the locked gate and above the staircase. In Copenhagen, the only usable cannon is the one at the boat of the finale. This is purely an objective-based cannon, as its main purpose is to destroy the barricade to begin the finale, destroy the fallen mast in the canal, and to fight off the brig sloop. Unlike the other cannons of the game, this cannon can immediately be reloaded as soon as it fires, but it cannot be fired as soon as it's loaded. It takes a few seconds for it to return into its firing position. In the middle of the finale, you can fire the cannon as soon as you turn the corner near the burning boat to take down the mast immediately. Against the brig sloop, you will need exactly 5 round shots to take the ship down. The earliest you can fire the cannon is right beneath the bridge. Shooting earlier will cause the round shot to miss. If you and your teammates shoot some of the sailors, this can actually reduce the amount of round shots needed. Just make sure that when you're loading the cannon, there aren't any runners boarding the front of the boat, as they can drag you overboard. The swivel cannons on the side of the boat aren't that useful, as they have a limited turn range and are rarely safe to use due to how many zombies board the boat at once. In Berina, there are 2 cannons nearby spawn that are meant to protect allies building the bridge. However, because of how far back these 2 cannons are placed, canister shots will sometimes miss your intended targets, especially when at least half of the bridge is already built. The cannons are also placed very close to where zombies can spawn, making them really dangerous to use in the first place. Ignore using these cannons, and instead focus on helping with building the bridge. Le Femme d'Eon is the only endless map with cannons. It has 2 placed within the map, one on the 2nd floor of the apartment, and another overlooking the cemetery. If you're in the apartment, solely use the cannons to shoot bombers and igniters, since zombies don't often gather in neat groups to warn using the canister shots. It's better to use the grape shots in later rounds, since zombies can block bombers and igniters. The cannon nearby the cemetery covers a good amount of distance and can easily combat igniters appearing from the river. You don't need to use grape shots here, since canister shots do just fine and are very helpful if allies get grabbed within the open field in front of you. That's all the cannons as of version 0.14. Now before deciding to use one, assess the situation you're in and think about whether or not it's safe and or useful to man the cannon in the first place. They're not absolutely necessary to survive, but with the right person behind it, cannons can do wonders for your team. If the stars align and the perfect shot reveals itself, let it rip.